Good evening. Welcome to What's New. We have a great crowd tonight. We have great people, so we're going to start the show with ours. We'll get it started, and we will.
If you can hear me, I have laryngitis or something. Anyway, yeah. So we have a lot of interesting things to talk about tonight. Robbie's going to talk about the Volta, what's going on there, and Jeff's going to talk about the Shop with the Cops, and Betty's going to talk about the Legion.
VFW.
VFW, sorry. And Darlene's going to talk about those scooter burgers from the Alzheimer's. So whichever one of you wants to take off. Go ahead.
Because Jim's going to be waiting on
All
me.
right.
So.
Oh, that's right.
Hi, my name is Darlene Klein, and myself and my family and my husband Jim are all volunteers and advocates for the Alzheimer's Association. Our family has been touched by this disease. We lost our husband, father, and friend in 2002. He suffered from vascular dementia for 8 years before he died. We witnessed firsthand the progress of this terrible disease and the stress that it puts on the patient and the family. That's why we are so adamant in promoting fundraisers, because without the funds, there will never be a cure. And at this time, we're far from a cure. But they are now testing a drug, and I won't try to say it because it's got 14 letters, and I would butcher it. But that it is supposed to stimulate the immune process that could protect the neutrons in the brain from toxic protons. Phase 2 is still underway, and this drug is still in research. It's not available to the public. This may not seem like a big deal, but it is huge because it's the first step. And you know what they say, a long journey starts with the first step. And with our help, the next step may be a bigger one. We can only hope and pray that the future generations, our children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren, do not have to experience this disease in their lifetime. That being said is why I'm here this evening. On Saturday, November 23rd, we are sponsoring our last fundraiser for this year. We will be starting with what has now become a familiar venue, Scooter Burgers. We will be setting up on the Barley's lot in front of what used to be the Genevieve Tavern / Radio Shack. We will be serving from 11 o'clock to 2, so get there early because there always is a line. Watch for the banners. In the evening, Dick and Suzanne Greminger has generously donated the use of the Oris for an evening concert. The doors will open at 5 and the concert will start at 7. Music will be provided by the Different Shades of Blues. It's a band that plays a blend of blues with classical rock. Music for your listening and dancing pleasure. There will be a variety of music, or there will be guests from other bands in St. Genevieve, so we will have a variety of different kinds of music. I think it'll entertain everybody. We will be holding a 50-50 drawing and also a silent auction. Christmas is going to be upon us before very long, and we have some really nice items to bid on, and the cover charge will be $5 a person. And at this time, while I have the opportunity, I would publicly like to acknowledge some of the people who have jumped on board with our supporting Alzheimer's. The American Legion Post 150, who has donated the use of their hall and their lawn for various fundraisers. The St. Genevieve Eagles Aries 4336 does a barbecue for us each year. All the businesses who have been sponsors for our walk, and to all the local citizens who have sponsored our yearly raffle and all the other fundraisers that we have had over the years. We truly appreciate their support, and we could not have had the success had it not been for their support. In the past 5 years, we have raised $32,570, and we're not finished this year. We are now at $10,380 for this year, and we are slightly short of what our goal is for $45,000. So if we would make another a little over $2,000, we'd probably make that $45,000. We're proud of the total, and we thank you for your continued help. God bless you. And I can't stress enough how important this is, because unless you've lived with somebody with Alzheimer's, you have no idea what it is. And like I said, if we don't get the funds, there will never be a cure. So this is why we're so adamant, and we just encourage everybody to support us in any way they can. I know everybody can't come to every function that we have, but just give us some moral support. That's all we need. Thank you.
And what is the date on that, the 23rd?
23rd of November.
yours?
And
I-
then-
Yeah, November. I've got some flyers. If anybody knows any place they can put some out, I'd be happy to give you some.
Did you hang some in church?
Yeah. How many you want?
2?
Yeah.
Darlene, did you hang some in the churches?
No, I'm working on that.
You want me to take 4 of them
Take
for?
one out to the nutrition center.
In town.
Okay.
Here, Pastor, I think that might be more.
And then this event is the same night at the
Yeah,
Oris,
yeah.
and it's a $5 cover charge to get in.
Door charge, yes, and then we will have a 50/50 drawing, and we'll have, like I said, the silent auction, and
Do you,
I think it'll be something different. I think it was very generous of Dick and Suzanne to offer it.
Yes.
Because it was something that we did not expect. And the band is a local boy. It's Les Trotman Jr. He has this band. I don't know if they've ever played in town.
I've
But
heard
they
of them.
play, it's called The Different Shade of Blues. So today I called him and I said, in case they ask tonight, what kind of music do you play? I don't want to act dumb and not know, what do you call it? And he says, we call it a blend of blues and classic rock.
Oh, nice.
So it'll be interesting. And
So do you get advance tickets or
No, we don't, no.
just at the door?
Yeah,
And what time does it start?
at 7.
At 7,
And I
yeah.
asked Dick, I said, well, what time do we have to be out of there? And he said, by 1 o'clock. And I said, no, we'll be out long before that.
It's
And,
$5 cover charge.
$5 cover charge. And we get what comes in through the door and then what we make on the raffle and everything. They'll have a bar, but that, I told Dick, I said, we don't want anything from the bar.
And they can go eat next door beforehand.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Or they can bring things over, I'm sure.
Pardon?
They can bring things in
Over,
from
right.
Ciro's, I'm sure, you know,
Right.
they can do that.
Unless it's
But we're not
23rd.
going to have to furnish anything, so that's good. So that's all I have to say, and thanks for giving me the opportunity.
Well, I'm
to
glad
tell
you
the-
came.
Yeah.
And this is
Put
a,
one out at the nutrition center.
Nope.
this is a big plus, having these posters.
Yeah.
I'll be glad to get one of the hospital.
Go ahead and give me one.
I don't, they don't want things at the hospital.
I can put it in my department.
Oh, okay, I was going to say, because
Yeah, all over town, people have stopped doing that because they say it distracts from their just window
well,
displays.
the hospital likes to only post things that pertains to the hospital.
Okay.
And I know, because one year, I even wanted them to put, each employee has a mailbox, and I wanted them to put them in there, they wouldn't do it. So I don't step on any toes, I just.
Right, well, they have a
Right.
right, yeah.
We have
yes.
people
So-
in high places.
So, well, thank you so much for coming.
Well, thank you for
and
having
We hope
me.
there's a big crowd.
I hope so. I don't know what, there is one more event going on at Bloomsdale, and that might interfere a little bit, but then again, it might be new. I mean, you know, the people might be interested in hearing this type of music.
Right.
Get Charlie
And
to-
might not want to travel the highway, maybe, I don't know, maybe they'll stay in town. I can only hope.
Charlie, if you
Yeah.
can put your
So-
camera on the table there, she has
He's talking to
Oh,
Charlie
oh.
downstairs.
I was going to say, I didn't see anybody behind me.
there it is.
There it is, he's got it up.
Was he going?
Yeah.
He can hear us over the camera and all.
I
There.
got they left me put a
Thank
big
you.
down at the Oris, they got a window there.
Oh, yes, yeah.
I went and had a poster made, poster size of this.
Oh, that's
Got-
nice,
Got it
yeah.
in there. And we've got some banners coming from whatever that brewery, that,
Oh, Budweiser
yeah.
or Bud
yeah.
Light.
Yeah, they're making me some banners, but I got in a little late, so he said they might only be there the week before. I said, I don't care, you know.
As long as it gets advertised,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
And a lot of people don't plan until the last minute anyway.
Yeah.
Well, that's nice to know, and I'm glad they're
Yeah.
doing that.
Well,
now.
thank you so much for having me.
You are
Thank you.
welcome.
Thank
Anytime you need to come back, just
Oh, I'll
give me a
call.
buzz.
I'll call.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Okay, sorry. Who's next?
Go ahead, I'm on the hook. Go ahead.
I'm last.
She's going to talk. Go ahead, Robbie.
Well, I'll go next, I guess. For those who don't know, my name is Robbie Pratt, and I'm the Director of Museum Operations over at the Center for French Colonial Life and the Bolduc House Museum Properties. I'm here to give a little brief presentation about what we've got coming up this weekend. On Saturday is a first event for us. We're calling it St. Genevieve County Day. And it's this simple. If you can come in into our doors from 10 to 5 p.m. with proof of residence in St. Gen County, you're going to get a free tour of the Bolduc House Museum. The Bolduc House is the only National Historic Landmark in town. It's circa about 1788. And they will be somewhat abridged tours. They're going to be about 20 to 25 minutes instead of the normal 45 minutes. But that's to try to accommodate what we hope is going to be droves of people coming through. We're going to be doing, every 30 minutes, we're going to be doing a new tour starting at 10:15, and they're going to be at the 15 and 45 minute mark of the hour. So 10:15, 10:45, 11:15, 11:45, and so on. The first will be at 10:15, and the last will be at 11 or 4:15.
4:15.
4:15, yeah.
And that's this Saturday?
That's this Saturday.
That's
And we're going to be open 10 to 5, and again, the first tour will be at 10:15, and the last will be at 4:15 for that. Now, we are also going to be, for anybody who's really interested in other tours, or anybody coming in from out of town, or somebody who's in the area but not from St. Genevieve County, we're also going to be conducting our normal, regularly hour tours at the 30-minute mark, so 10:30 and 11:30 and so on. This event is also co-sponsored. I do want to mention it's co-sponsored by B&D Telecom. They're very graciously co-sponsoring the event, and because of them, we're going to have, while supplies last, a meat and cheese spread from Oberly. So we'll have all the Oberly dog and the smoked pork loin and cheese and crackers. And we'll try to get
There'll be a lot of people there when you have food. Food's a draw.
Yeah. We're hoping for maybe, I'd like to see at least 100 or so people come out for it.
Okay, so do they go direct to?
Yeah, so you're going to go to the Center for French Colonial Life, and if you haven't been there yet, it's the new museum exhibits facility in the old Bank of St. Genevieve building. It's at 198 Market, and that's at the intersection of 2nd and Market Street in downtown St. John. It's right across from Lions Park.
Lot of parking.
And then
A lot of parking, 52 parking spaces over there.
And then the tour will be,
And we'll
Led
depart
from
from
there.
the center and go to the Bolduc House and on back to the center for cheese and crackers.
Have you put any flyers or anything in the local businesses? Because when people come in like Saturday, they'll be shopping. If they see this, you might not know anything about it.
Yeah, we have. We've got it out. It's up on Facebook. It's in the newspaper, and
Been planned for a while, hasn't it?
yeah, we've been planning this one for a while.
now, is
Yeah.
Saturday, small shop Saturday too?
No, that's
that in?
that's at Thanksgiving week.
It's, pardon?
That's Thanksgiving weekend.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because nobody's called us to be on for that or to talk about that, so.
Well, I've got it in with that crowd, so maybe I'll send somebody over to you for
Okay,
it.
that
I know
would be
that
good.
crowd, yeah.
That would be good.
But you know, we're really proud of the work we've done over there. French Colonial America is the organization that runs the museum campus and has been for the last almost 3 years now. And we're very proud of all the work we've done. We've done a lot of research and better adapted the house and staged the house for it. We've purchased new artifacts to go in the house. Archaeology we've done has allowed us to better understand the family and the type of artifacts and things that they've had. So we want to show it off to the house, and we want to show it off to everyone.
So it
When I
looks
went on
different than it
vacation-
did before.
And I drive all over places looking for little shops and history stuff, and haven't been in half the stuff that's been here. The last time I done most of your house down there, I was in the 4th grade.
Well, you know, that is truly the heart of why we're doing this. Is we hear all the time from town residents and county residents that sort of confusion. They don't know what site's what. They don't know what's state and what's property or private property and what's the city. And especially now with the Park Service, nobody knows what's Park Service and what's not. So we hear that a lot. That, you know, I was there in 4th grade, haven't been back since. And
We went to your museum here about 3 weeks ago, me and my daughter,
oh, you did?
and
That's a neat
learned a lot
place, isn't
like
it?
that. So
Yeah.
I'll probably be one of the ones down there Saturday.
Well, good. We hope to see you there.
But
Yeah.
I just,
So by
you know, I drive
museum,
this every day, and I don't know why I just don't stop. You know, I mean, it's just an everyday thing to me. But then I drive plumb out of town, try to find something I got right in my own backyard. Yeah.
so by
I think
museum, were you talking about the Center for
Some of
French
the-
Colonial
Yes.
Center
Life?
Yes,
New
yes,
Exhibit
they have a
Facility,
museum.
Because I didn't think they opened the other one
No,
yet.
No.
the one in Colonial.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a very interesting place. And it's so neat, and it's just really set up really nice.
And the employees there that I talked to that day, they're real knowledgeable too, friendly. I mean, you ask them questions and they got an answer, they don't just him-haw around.
No, we take pride in what we do, and we work hard, and we're very proud of that building. I'm glad you had a good experience there. And we're already hard at work planning 2020. We just had our annual werewolf event a few weeks ago, right before Halloween, and we had a great turnout. Just under 140 people came out for it. And,
Good.
yeah, we all had a blast. I think everybody who came had a blast. And we're hard at work in 2020. We still got some 2019 events. But we have this, and then I'm sure I'll get in beforehand. But just in case I get sick with the flu or something, and don't make it in. New Year's Eve, we have our annual Ghioni Watch Party. For those who don't know, La Ghioni is a traditional European-style mummers group, which is sort of it's kind of like caroling, but not quite. Christmas caroling, and they go from site to site in town singing traditional folk song, and they've got one for St. Genevieve where the lyrics are specific to St. Genevieve, and they're going to be performing at the Center and at the Bolduc House, and I'm trying to finalize a co-sponsorship with one other organization, but we're very excited that this year we're also going to have a free concert by Dennis Stromat at the Center for French Colonial
Oh,
Life.
great.
Wonderful.
So the Missouri Humanities Council are partnering with us on that one, and I'm hoping to get one more. I think I'll know by the end of the week, but we'll see.
Now, this is for New Year's Eve.
That's for New
The
Year's
watch
Eve.
party.
Yeah, and I'll have some more information about that, but it's
Is there-
ballpark going to be about 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. at the
Is
Center
there a
for French
cover
Colonial
charge?
You're welcome.
Nope, it's
Come
going to
on
be a
anytime
free
and
event for the
office
community.
with you.
Yeah, this is a free event for the community. So
So it's from 6:30 to 8:30 on New Year's Eve?
yeah, approximately. The
Approximately,
time of that might
okay.
slightly change. They usually get to the Center and the Bolduc House around a little bit after 8. So they'll perform at the Center and they'll perform at the Bolduc House. I'll have Dennis perform with him at both, and I'm really hoping again to record them performing with Dennis inside the Bolduc House too. I'm trying to get
Now, are
that
you going to
worked
be
out.
open till midnight over there?
No, we'll shut down a little bit after.
Sounds
I
good.
leave the midnight stuff to places better equipped for it.
You
And
know,
you
I
wanna
didn't know
tell
who
them
Dennis
a-
Stromat was. I went to Nashville, and I seen him at Ernest Tubb Midnight Jamboree.
Really? You were just there, and he was there?
Well, this was a couple years ago.
Uh-huh.
And he talked about a little town named Cape Girardeau. So I walked up to him when it was over with, and we were talking, and I said, well, I'm from a town just a little bit north of there, St. John. Oh, I know St. John, I'm there every year.
He
He said, I
is,
grew
yeah.
up in Cadet and all this. And now I see him, when he comes up here, we talk, shake hands, and I remember you from Nashville. But yeah, we were gonna go in October and see him in Nashville, but we didn't make it, so. But yeah, he's quite the storyteller and quite the fiddle player and musician, and his daughter's coming right up in his footsteps too, so.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
It's pretty
Oh,
good.
really? His daughter's trained, I mean, he's trained his daughter? Is that what you said?
Yeah, his little girl was at the French Festival,
Okay.
and she was playing some kind of thing and singing a little bit. So,
Great.
Yeah,
So
so-
do you want to mention a little bit about the Ghioni, the history of it and that, or?
Not
would
at this
you-
time. I'm not.
Okay.
No, I will. But
That's
I'll come back in December.
Okay.
Let me get through Saturday.
Okay, that'll be fine. That'll be fine,
Yeah.
yeah.
But I'll be back and we'll talk a little bit more about it and
Okay.
what we're.
That'll be good.
I'll try to have some of the details a little bit more etched out. But the idea is that it's again sort of similar to this coming Saturday. It's a free event for the community and it's family friendly. Yeah, there's no alcohol. And the really nice thing is you get that sort of social obligation of doing something for New Year's Eve, and then if you want, you can go home and you can get on the couch at 9 o'clock, put the blanket on. Yeah,
That big old black dog of yours on your lap or something, huh?
yeah, begging for food.
Yeah.
But
Okay,
again,
Mr. Jeff.
that's me.
Well,
Thank you so
Rob.
much for coming, Robbie.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Happy to be here.
Okay, Jeff, let's hear about your adventure.
well, it's
You
time
might
for Santa
start
Claus.
at the beginning because a lot of people that are listening might not know the whole story about it.
Okay, I'm Deputy McCarty with the Sheriff's Office.
No,
And
camera's up.
11 years ago, I approached the sheriff about doing a shop with a cop, and he said, okay. First thing I want to ask you is how the kid's going to get picked. Second thing is how you going to fund it. And he said, you better not ask anybody for money. He said, the organizations here have hit most of the businesses, and they just don't have it to give. And I found out that all I had to do is incorporate one person, and he was my mouthpiece. I didn't have to ask. But I was allowed to ask the American Legion because they do barbecues, and I thought we could do a barbecue. I had first considered poker runs on motorcycles, and a lot of poker runs are from drinking establishments to drinking establishments, and us, we wasn't going to, the sheriff department wasn't going to sponsor one of them. So then we just asked about, let's do a sweet run. We run from Dairy Queen to Dairy Queen. We just have ice cream sundaes. Nope, that wasn't going to go either. So I fell into the American Legion, and I talked to the Coast Commander, and she said, let's have a meeting. So myself, the sheriff, and Post Commander, and a couple other people were there, and I explained it, and the sheriff said, that's Jeff's idea, because he didn't want people to think that he's trying to get votes. He said, you take it and go, I'll support you, but you take it and go with it. So Post Commander with American Legion said, you know what, our ball team didn't go as far this year, why don't we just give you $1,000? And thanked them very much. And the other person sitting there said, you know what, I'm the big dog with the Elks. If you can do that, I think we can do it too. I'll check and see. So with those, they give $1,000 as well. So with those $2,000, and I received some from American Legion Riders, and I received from a local businessman, we started out with $2,500. We took 50 kids shopping, and they got $50 a piece. We had Alco and Dollar General to shop at the time. Worked out really well. It was about as cold as it was today. It was supposed to be on that Saturday morning. We were going to stand outside out in front of Alco, and it was sleeting and raining and everything, and it was cold. So I was going to have 100 people standing outside. So then I just found out that Country Mart had gotten the party room. He said, why don't you check on that? So I walked in and asked the manager. He said, there it is. So we've been in the party room ever since, and the Grocer's Country Mart has provided coffee, donuts, and milk for the kids and for the staff ever since. So that first year we got it off the ground. We didn't have any glitches. The only glitch I had was we shopped from kindergarten to the 5th grade. They brought their little siblings down with them. They were upset because I didn't have anything for them. So I said, well, that's not going to happen anymore. So the next year we started a toy drive. The toy drive is designed, when I asked for names for the schools, I asked for approximately 250 names. And then I compare those names with the Adopted Family Program. At that time it was East Missouri Action Agency, now it's with the Health Department. If they get adopted, I take them off my list. So then, depending on how much funds we get, is how I come up with the Shop the Cop list. And anybody that doesn't make that list, I make toy baskets for them. So that's why I do them both, to help out the kids that are under kindergarten and help out the kids that doesn't get to go shopping. We started with 4 donators, and now we're up to about 50 people that donate. And it doesn't make any difference. If you don't want to donate, it doesn't make a difference whether it's $5 or $100. Everything adds up. And we've had a great time. We take them in up there, and everybody says, well, since Alco closed up, where do you take them shopping? I said, we go to Tractor Supply. There ain't a blessed thing at Tractor Supply that the kids would want. Evidently, they've not been in Tractor Supply. Because Tractor Supply it's last year or the year before, they cleared out 2 aisles and made an aisle for boys and an aisle for girls. All the toys that you can cram in there. And as they were taken off the shelves, they had extra staff putting them right back on. They've already got their warehouse set up to accommodate all this. And they sell a brand of clothing called C.E. Schmidt, and that's the company that makes Carhartt. So they can buy Carhartt looking coats for about half the price. So they get heavy duty coats. Unfortunately, they sell clothes for kids about this size down and this size up. The mid-grade, they don't have them. So we're left with Dollar General. Then Dollar General moves out on the highway, so how do we shop between them? Well, Buck Jokers and Pallet Bus Service give us a driver and a bus, and they come down and they shuttle the kids back and forth to Dollar General to the plaza. And they make as many trips as they have to. And they have a blast. Usually the bus drivers decorate up the bus. One bus driver brought his grandson. He was decorated up as an elf. And if they had the bus dressed up, and they had just as much fun as anybody else. And so it's just a tremendous Christmas party. And you can see the
Gratitude.
that's what I'm thinking of the kids, and you know how happy they are. And we get, once in a while, we get a disgruntled person, and I work it out, but they know what they're allowed to buy and what they're not allowed to buy, and it doesn't seem to be a problem. We urge the escorts, when my letter comes back, I ask for all the sizes for their shoes and coat and pants and shirt. So we urge the kids to buy at least one clothing item. And that way, if they need something, we try to get them to buy it. Other than that, they have a blast.
They do.
They do.
Dollar General, their district, they bend over backwards for us. We have 3 Dollar Generals in our county now. One out in New Offenburg, one in Bloomsdale, and one here in town. We can't go to all of them, but they all, the one in New Offenburg is going to start this year, put a toy box up so they'll collect toys for us for a toy drive. The district manager sets up on the day of the shop the cop. He put out a bunch of cookies and water and stuff and wrapping paper for the kids. And they come up there to get their stuff. They can get all this stuff, or the escorts, they can get water. So we're very blessed that the community has backed me up.
Right.
I was told when I started this, when I come over here, you'll never get nothing done. But you're an outsider. But I have found that in this community, if you're a leader and you want to get something started, then the community will come behind you if it's a worthwhile event. But there's a lot more followers than there are leaders. But like I said, I see it every day. I see this community come together on so many great events. The ball field and the park and the Common Grounds Coffee Shop, you know, that's not all of them. But, you know, this is such a caring community, and we can't do it by ourselves, but I can see it. For 10 years now, I've been wanting to take pictures. I'd like to show videos, but we don't want to embarrass anybody, you know. But last year, you know, we have a Facebook page, the Sheriff's Office, and we like to share stuff that's happening in the community. So we decided to try something, Major Schott and I. We put a permission slip on the invitation to the kids, and specifically said newspaper, TV, radio, social media such as Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. We only use Facebook. I think out of everybody we asked, we only had one that didn't sign it. So now we can take pictures and show these kids show that where your guys' money's going to, or what you're supporting. And not only that, we can put it on our TV station, so people that's from across the country, grandkids, parents can be overseas in the military, They can see their children, they can see what's going on. It's a great thing.
Right.
And we are taking donations for Shop with the Cop. We'll take them till December 13th. And the money goes toward Shop with the Cop. And then we have a toy drive, and I'm going to take toys up to December 13th as well, and that'll supplement it. New unopened toy. If we don't have enough toys, then we might use some of the money to buy toys and make sure all the kids get something. The hardest age bracket there is for us to fill is 8 to 12, because they're too old for Hot Wheels and little baby dolls, because most people think that kids only go up to size 8 or age 8. But you know, there's all kinds of things that you can get
So
for an
what
older
kind of-
child. There's games, there's basketballs, there's footballs, puzzles, you know, stuff like that.
That's what the age of 12's like.
Yes. If we go to user, we go.
Well, I have to commend you for what you've done, because that is such a
Yes.
great, great
I love it.
opportunity for the kids and for the parents.
And like I said, it took a while, but I mean, the parents know. I go in a grocery store and I could be in plain clothes, and the kids will say, "Mom, that's Austin McCarty." Well, how do you know him? He goes to our school. And the parents will
Don't-
tell me first. I was down to Hee Haw show, and this young man was holding this little girl. She couldn't have been that tall. And I said, "Hi, young lady. I'm dressed up as a cowboy. I mean, nothing looks like this, you know." And I said, "Hi, little lady." She said, "Dad said she knows you." And she does, yeah. She said, "You're Austin McCarty. You come to her school." And then I ran into a guy the other day, one of our local troopers. He said, "My son can tell me where you're at all the time." He said, he's your biggest fan. Then when he comes home, "Austin McCarty came by the school today. Austin McCarty did this day. Austin McCarty brought me this." And I said, "You know what? That makes me feel good, because if they're going home and talking about me, I hope I've made a difference in their life."
Right.
And that's what we want to do. We want to make, you know, usually when kids and parents see the cops as something called bad. And so if we can make an image that with the Shop with the Cop and going to schools and he's on our side. You know, he's not the bad guy. He's on our side.
Yes,
And
that's very important.
the highlight of my day is I get 80 to 100 hugs a day when I go into the schools. And teachers spend all day enforcing law and order. And they'll make them line up in the hallways. You got to whisper quiet, and you got to stand still. If they see me come through the door, that's all over with. They'll come out of the classrooms to give me hugs. I'll get back in here, we're all going to get in trouble. But I'll go in and sit down. The teachers, I mean, I'll look in the window. I'm not there to disrupt anything, but if they see me and invite me in, they may be doing an art project. I'll sit down with them and do it with them, you know. And last year I was so proud of Easter time, the kids were decorating eggs, drawing eggs. You had to decorate their egg and then tell a story about it. Well, I did that. And she hung mine out in the hall with all the rest of the second graders. Mine was right in the middle. You know? So, but that's mingling with the kids is why I want them to have a great Christmas.
Right.
You know, I've got lots of prizes coming up for this Christmas that I can't say, but I want them to have a great Christmas, and I can tell that whenever we do that, I'm smiling. And we have community leaders come down and go shopping, and I have a banner, a video that runs, and it runs on the TV station here. Everybody that's contributed, or contributed, I guess you could say, that made this event possible, because it ought to be called Shop with the Community, because it's a community that made this happen. And some people tell me, "Well, why don't you just load them up, take them to Walmart?" That would never
Go
work.
to Walmart, yeah.
It would never work. I know there's some of them now they understand that, you know, we may have to buy shoes at Walmart, may have to buy shoes away from here, just because they're not available here. It ain't that we don't want to, we just, the stuff that they need, it's just not available. So, but we try to include everybody, as many merchants as we can, organizations as we can. I don't want to leave anybody out. But it's been a success, and I've got 4 more years that I could think about retirement. I hope that I make it those 4 years, and I'd like to go
Keep it
3 more past that. But then after that, I'd like somebody else to take it on, and I hope somebody will jump in there.
You'll have to mentor someone on those last years.
Officer McCarthy, who do you use as your escorts?
But we get as many of our officers as we can. And last year we had quite a few. We use our office staff, the secretaries, and the sheriff and chief deputy, Major Schott. We'll have a bunch of other supervisors. We have a bunch of our road patrol officers, and we have some jail staff come in. And then usually Roy and Arlene, I forgot his name. Glenn Roy. Glenn and
Yeah,
Arlene
Roy,
Roy.
their last name, yeah.
They come out, they represent the Elks. It's just several volunteers that say, hey, can I come and help? And I try to limit to about 30, 35 total volunteers, because that's about how many kids I bring them in. I bring in that many per hour. So that way, when that her first bunch comes in, all of our volunteers take a kid and they're gone. And when they're getting back, time for the next bunch. They'll be coming in, and it just keeps a steady stream. That way we don't have an overwhelming number of volunteers that are just sitting around waiting. So, but
I did that one year, and yeah, it was so fulfilling.
yeah, she's painted faces a
Mary
few
Ann
times.
painted faces, right.
You know, there's people ask me, why don't you have this going on? Why don't you have that going on? But they don't understand how fast paced it is. You know, there's, you know, by the time they get a part of Frosty painted, they're ready to go shopping. They're not ready for that.
Painted, they're out the door.
You know, there's donuts and milk and everything there for them, and they'll throw that donut away before they'll miss shopping. I mean, they'll be in the middle of a bite, time to go, all right, you know. But
So it's as fulfilling for the volunteers as it is
Yes.
for the kids.
And like I said,
It really is.
VFW has usually helped us in the past. You know, if somebody, Ladies Auxiliary helps us. If you're interested, you know, an organization like you're interested in helping, just get with me. I'll let you know if we can use it. It ain't that I don't want to use them. It's just we need to keep them down to a minimum. Because it's called shop with a cop. My boss says we're going to do that, and that's. But I don't want to, you know, like I said, leave out the community. Because it wasn't for the community, it wouldn't happen to begin with. So I try to get them involved.
And I think that's wonderful that the police are doing that, because since it's a name, and then the kids learn to respect all of them.
Well,
More so, yeah.
I probably shouldn't say this. Now, we help, on an average, between everything we do, probably 300 kids. And I get some names I try to help out toward Farmington area, but most of those kids go to Farmington School, so they get helped on that end. So most of my kids are from this end of the county, Bloomsdale, Double D. A big county like St. Louis County, they were talking that they took some kids shopping. They took 30 kids shopping. They bought 30 bicycles. They all give them all brand new bicycle. And they give them $300 a piece. Now this is St. Louis County, and 30 kids. If it had been me, or why couldn't they have give those 30 bicycles to somebody else? That'd help 30 other kids.
Right.
If they'd have took that $300 and give them $100 a piece, that'd have helped 60 more. So they could have helped over 100 kids
Right.
with the same amount
And
of
where do
funds.
they ride bicycles anyway in St. Louis? Around their neighborhoods? Well, if the parents do the bike
And
trails.
that's something that we miss here in town, is because Alco sold bicycles. And a lot of kids would
Right.
never, ever see a new bicycle. And they had enough money, they'd get a new bicycle. They go down there, oh, I want a new bike. And they get enough, and we try to urge them to get a new helmet to go with it. You know, those safety things, you can buy helmets for $10. And I'd usually, between the deals that, you know, Tractor Supply gives discounts, Alco gave discounts, so with a discount, it's like a free helmet. You know, if you get a bicycle, you gotta get this helmet to go with it. Okay.
Does
And
the Elks still fix up bikes and give them to?
that I don't know.
I don't know either.
I don't know.
They used to. You know, our Eagles have like the Giving Tree. And,
But I have to say.
The Eagles is a big, in fact, I'm supposed to meet with Charlie tomorrow, Charlie Tyser.
Uh-huh.
The Eagles is, got a big donation for us, I'm supposed to get that tomorrow.
yeah, we put up a Christmas tree in the area down there and put little tags on.
We had a, those of you might not know, there's a car club in town called the Gearheads.
Right.
Uh-huh.
And they've been doing a lot of things, and they met, and they called me and asked me if I'd like to be a member. And I said, because we like to hold some fundraisers to help you with Shop the Cop and the toy drive. And they did. And we had a pretty good turnout at Audubon's here a few weeks ago. And I like to thank Audubon's because they helped us out a bit. And it turned out to have a really good donation. So I thank all the guys at the Gearheads, and Audubon's for putting that event on, and anybody else that helped with them, because that turned out to be a good event as well. So, but those are people that have never been involved before. It's just seen what we've done and know what the deal is, and the Gearhead said, you know what, we're a local club, we want to help somebody in our community, and they called me and said, hey, can we do this for you?
And I think it's great that you shop in town too and don't go out.
And that's
Because that's,
the way it'll be. And now, if something ever happens to Tractor Supply or Dollar General, I don't know what we're going to do.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, hopefully they stay in business. Yeah.
and I do too. Like I
I
said,
have a
they're
question, Jeff, that
Okay.
I was just sitting here thinking about. Now, we're talking shop with a cop. You're a sheriff.
deputy sheriff,
Well,
but we're still a cop. We're law enforcement.
okay, but does it concern the city police?
Yes, I invite the city PD. They have officers to come down,
Okay,
and also in the past, one of our deputies has a spouse that works for the ambulance district, and she always come with him to shop. And she asked me, said, do you mind if so-and-so comes? So now we usually have a couple of EMTs that slip in on us and help us. So, but we do have city PD, Christy Clark, she's the SRO at school, and she's commissioned through the city PD, so she works at school with kids every day, so she comes out and helps us. So I try to invite as many people as I can. So we have city PD, we have sheriff's department, and we usually have a couple from the ambulance district, and like the other community leaders that help us as well.
I think that's wonderful that you've done this.
Oh,
You started
yes.
that and it's grown and it's
and I'm
just
proud of the
So
team.
the-
wonderful for the kids. Just
The boxes are at Dollar General's, all three Dollar General's,
Yes.
And-
a box of Tractor Supply.
Tractor Supply,
You can grab them off of Ernie Weiler.
oh, at the insurance.
Tomorrow, I'll have a box down here at the B-Bar, Harold's famous, right next to Sweet Thing.
Oh, okay.
Honey bar.
Is that what it's called? Honey Bar.
Honey
Okay.
Bar.
Honey Bee Bar.
There'll be a box down there. All three Bloomsdale banks, the one at the Country Mart, the one here, the one in Bloomsdale, they all have boxes as well.
That's great. So
Where
there's-
can people give monetary donations to?
They can drop it off to the sheriff's office, or they can mail a check to the sheriff's office, or they can call me and I come by and pick it up. And checks can be made out to SWAC. They don't have to spell it all out. Just so I said, what's SWAC? Shop with a Cop, SWAC. And like I said, any amount of a donation is appreciative. I received one from Country Haven Residential Facility for a young gentleman, 5 or 6 years ago for $5. And that was just as important, $5 as the $100 donation. It all adds up fast.
As kids, SWAC was sealed with the kids.
No, that's SWAK.
Okay, that's right. It's for person they'll think of, but that is a kiss of love.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful project.
And it's, and it sticks with the kids too, because I hear, you took me shopping, or so-and-so took me shopping. And we had a young man 2 years ago come in, and he had a uniform on, just like us. He come in, he had his hat on, and he had a badge on, it said St. Francis County. And I said, oh, we can't do that. And I went and got him a plastic badge that said St. John County. But he, in fact, the sheriff took him shopping. He wanted to go with the sheriff, so the sheriff took him shopping. So he come in dressed up as a deputy. And we have youngsters that love to go with the cops, you know, and love to go with young ladies. I usually try to pair up a young lady with a young lady. And I've had parents say, they won't go with anybody. I need to go with them. I said, no, you don't. Well, she won't go by herself. I bet she will. And it ain't but a few seconds, and out the door they're gone. Because I prefer that the parents don't go. You know, I want the kids to shop and be at ease by themselves.
Right. And they, can I really have this? Yeah, that little girl asked me that. Can I really have this? Yeah,
Yep.
you sure
This is
can.
your-
You can
this
buy
is
whatever
your
you
day.
want. Yeah, it's
Yep,
your
this
shopping
is your
day.
day.
Okay, so thank you so
Thank you
much for
so
Oh,
coming,
you're welcome.
Jeff.
Thank you for having me.
And if you want to come back later on,
Okay.
you can.
Yeah.
You're
Okay.
welcome.
Yeah.
Do that.
The 27th will be on also.
Okay.
Okay, so I guess it's your turn, Betty.
Thank you. I'm Betty Arnold, and I'm honored and privileged to be serving this year as the president of the VFW Auxiliary here in St. Genevieve. And our VFW Auxiliary, we have a tagline, and that tagline is unwavering support for uncommon heroes. The auxiliary was established in 1914, and we are the nation's oldest veterans service organization's auxiliary. We originally set out to serve the veterans of this country and our communities in honor of the sacrifices and the commitment of every man and woman who has served in uniform. Members of the auxiliary are relatives of those who have served in combat areas overseas. We have male and female members, and Congress has actually set the rules for VFW eligibility, and our eligibility is based on that VFW eligibility. We have more than 470,000 members in nearly 300 auxiliaries nationwide. We volunteer millions of hours, and we fundraise millions of dollars for charitable projects to benefit veterans, military service personnel, and their families. We have national programs, and those programs allow us to assist the VFW. We help to pass or block legislation that impacts veterans and their families. We volunteer in VA facilities, and we conduct patriotic programs with thousands of students every day and offer hundreds of thousands of dollars in the form of scholarships for our youth. Our local auxiliary 2210 has a quota of 427 members. And I might add, 55 of those members haven't paid their dues yet this year, so we are actively asking for those dues to be paid. Our auxiliary used to be the largest auxiliary in the state of Missouri, but we are now second to Cape Girardeau. But that's still pretty darn good when you consider the population base of Cape Girardeau versus St. Genevieve. We've lost so many members over the years, though, to death, and it's hard to make up those good, loyal, older members. The spirit of volunteerism just isn't as prevalent as it used to be, and I think all organizations are feeling that crunch. I'd like to highlight each of our programs. The main program in our auxiliary is Veterans and Family Support. This is why we are here. We're here to help the veterans, active duty, and their families. We have National Veterans Service, and in that we have a nationwide network of over 300 VFW service officers who help navigate the Veterans Affairs system. I always tell veterans not to take the VA on themselves. It's kind of like fighting City Hall. Let our very capable service officers act on their behalf. Our VFW service officers assist all veterans, whether they belong to the VFW or not. They're still able to help those veterans. They help file claims for disability compensation, rehab, educational programs, pension, death benefits, burial benefits, and nursing home assistance. They also work to assure timely and accessible VA health care. We hear a lot of bad things about VA health care, but for every bad thing we hear, there's probably 100 good things that happen. We all know good things don't always make the news. We have an unmet needs program to help veterans, and that program offers assistance with financial needs like mortgage or rent payments, auto repairs, utility bills. And many of you may have heard about the Kansas City area. They have a project called the Tiny Houses. That program is greatly supported by our VFW and auxiliary, and homeless veterans have found their home there. One of those homeless veterans that I had the opportunity to meet was so happy that he could finally invite his daughter, whom he hadn't seen for over 10 years, to come visit him in his home, because now he had a home. He didn't before that tiny house. Locally, just this past Monday, we visited all of the veterans in every one of our nursing homes here in the community, and we were able to go with the American Legion, and we presented bags of goodies to them from the VFW and American Legion auxiliaries. But most importantly, we visited with them. I'm so excited and so proud that we can partner with the American Legion on projects and programs. And I want to stress that we're not in competition. We're working for the same goals, our veterans. Our auxiliary hosts Marion Cliff residents for a dinner at our post. The residents love to come for a meal out. We also visit them twice a year at Christmas and Easter. We play bingo, we provide refreshments, and we spend time with those residents. At Christmas, we give each resident a monetary gift to use as they wish. Another program that we support is Americanism. Children are our greatest gift, and Officer McCarthy, I'm sure you can identify with that statement. It's up to us to teach them about patriotism and what America means. We just had a coloring contest in the schools, and prizes were presented. We honor our veterans on patriotic holidays like Veterans Day and Memorial Day. We are involved in the National Veterans Memorial in Perryville and have a date set when we will, as an auxiliary, be providing breakfast for their Tuesday morning gatherings. What a treasure that Vietnam Memorial is, not just for the Vietnam veterans, but for all veterans. And just think, we had that right in our own backyard. Our Buddy Poppy and National Home programs, I'm sure you've all seen those little red flowers. Those are assembled by veterans, and the donations that we receive allow us to help our local veterans. The VFW just had a drive this past weekend. When you throw your donation in that bucket at the roadblock or at the local store, you need to know that that money stays right here in our community and helps our veterans right here in St. Genevieve. The National Home was founded in 1925 and is in Eaton Rapids, Michigan. It's a sprawling campus with multiple buildings and single-family homes. The National Home Help number is 800-313-4200. And this home gives families or veterans a place to live. Missouri sponsors a Missouri Cottage home, and in my travels, I met a young man who had lived in the Missouri Cottage when he was just a little boy. He's actually from Michigan, and he told me that as a young boy, when the Missouri delegation of auxiliary members came to visit, they asked him, "What would you like?" And he quickly said, "A piano." Well, now a piano's not just a little item, but within a few weeks, the Missouri VFW Auxiliary had purchased that piano and had it delivered to that Missouri Cottage. That little boy learned how to play the piano, and to this day, he plays every week at his church. So what a wonderful story to share with others. This young man joined the Army, and his job was to accompany the deceased home for burial. He was quite a good photographer, and Iris, I think you'll identify with this. I hope you've seen that photo of the eagle landing on a monument at Arlington as it's coming in with the wings spread. This young man is the gentleman who took that photo, and it's a copyrighted photo. And to think that we gave him a home and a place to grow, and he became a wonderful man because of what we were able to do. Recently, our local auxiliary donated 135 children's books to the National Home for their library. We have such a wonderful giving community here in St. Genevieve. We have a hospital program. We promote suicide prevention. It's so sad to think that 22 veterans take their lives every single day. Missouri has 5 VA hospitals and 7 veterans homes. We have volunteers who work in those facilities. The Veterans Voices Project gives veterans the opportunity to tell those stories. We need to hear those stories. One of these days, that veteran's not going to be here to share that information with us. So we encourage schools to invite veterans into their schools and listen so that those children can learn about what veterans do. I'm sure that many of our listeners were at St. Gen High School this past Friday, and they heard a very emotional speech from a veteran who shared some of his experiences as he served our country. Our legislative program, we've got to continue to influence our lawmakers. Their decisions affect our veterans and their families every single day. A prime example of what the VFW has done and worked for is the GI Bill, VA home loans. We encourage everyone to vote in every election. Elections many times are won not by those who vote, but lost by those who do not vote. We encourage voters to vote in honor of their United States veteran. We have a scholarship program. We just had the Voice of Democracy scholarship program. We had 3 local winners. The top one now goes for district judging, and then we'll go on to state and national. The top scholarship at national is $30,000. Who couldn't use that? The VFW National Organization gives more than $154,000. And this scholarship program is for grades 9 to 12. We also have a Patriots Pen program, and that was a contest for grades 6 to 8, and that just also completed. Lois Fleeg is our chairman, and she does a great job with that program. The theme this year for both of those programs was What Makes America Great. I had the fortune to be able to read and also to listen to those Voice of Democracy students, and it's always exciting for me to see how students have a different take on that topic and able to share their thoughts with us. We have a continuing education scholarship, and that's $1,000 that goes to any auxiliary member, or spouse of an auxiliary member, or a child of an auxiliary member who's 18 years or older. That scholarship can be used for college or a vo-tech school, like cosmetology or diesel mechanic. We recognize that we have older members who need financial assistance, so we're glad to be able to do that. We have a Young American Creative Patriotic Art Contest, and that's grades 9 to 12. And when I mention grade levels, those are just grade levels. We're open to homeschool students, and the top national award in that patriotic contest is $15,000, and the deadline is March 31st. And I do want to remind our listeners that St. John High School had a second place national winner just a few years ago. We have a Missouri National Past President's Scholarship in honor of 2 ladies who served as national presidents in Missouri. Those scholarships are $1,800 and $1,200, and an applicant must be related to a VFW or auxiliary member who could be living or deceased. And just this past year, Trenton Linderer won second place in our state. And it's pretty great when you think that there's only 2 scholarships awarded in the whole state, and we had one of those 2. We've had many, many winners in that scholarship contest over the years. I attend most of the department and national functions, and many times when the scholarship winner is announced, I'll hear, "Oh no, not St. Genevieve again." But I will tell you, I will never apologize for having bright, talented, and hardworking students who win these awards. We have those here in our community. And just for your information, Nancy Fisher won that scholarship many years ago, and I've often thought about the wonderful investment that the auxiliary made in Nancy. Just think that we helped her get a great education so that she could do so many wonderful things for our students and our community over the years. We sponsor many youth groups. We have a program at Mineral Area College where the nursing students do Valentines for veterans every year. Last year, they presented me with over 600 handmade Valentines, and those were presented to veterans in nursing homes, hospitals, and other facilities. We also sponsored the daughter of one of our members who is a teacher in Jackson, Cape Girardeau, and she and her class provide table favors for every holiday for the residents in the Cape Veterans Home. Patriotism Through Literacy is one of our projects, and we recently donated 100 books to Amber Brown of Law Techniques for her lending library in a local urban housing project. Isn't that amazing to think that these young children can get a book at their home, and that book is theirs to keep if they want it? We have an art contest for students in grades K through 8. That's Illustrating America. And ours, I know how artistic you are, so I'm hoping that you will share some of that information with the groups that you come in contact with. We've got money to give away, and we want to give it to some of those great students.
Didn't Caitlin didn't
Yes,
she?
Caitlin was a winner.
Yeah.
She was.
That was
Did a great job.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that was super.
I know. It was an awesome job.
So that's offered to Valley and St. John.
It's offered to Valley and St. John, correct.
And the homeschoolers.
Yes,
Yeah.
and homeschool. And we always try to put things like that in the newspaper. When we get closer to the deadline, if you don't mind, we'll come back and remind
Okay,
our
that
listening
would be
audience
great,
about
yeah.
that. Now, we're going to get to membership, which is something that we all need in order to be able to do the programs and projects that we do. Membership is open to relatives of a VFW eligible member, and there's actually 12 ways to join. You can be the husband or the wife of an eligible veteran. You can be the grandmother, the grandfather, the father, the mother, the brother, the sister, the son, the daughter, or the grandson or granddaughter of an eligible veteran. So we've got a lot of ways that we can join. In 2015, the organization kind of came to the century that we finally realized that we have a lot of female veterans, and we needed to open the organization to the spouses of those female veterans, so we opened it to males. And currently in our local auxiliary, we probably have 20 to 30 males who have joined, and we're happy to have them. Whenever someone wishes to join, they have to prove their eligibility, and that is done through the Veterans DD 214 or discharge papers. We offer life membership based on the applicant's age. The dues are really reasonable. It's a real bargain. $20 for the first year, and then only $15 after that. Meetings are the first Monday of every month at 7:30 at our VFW hall. We need new members, and perhaps you were a member and you'd like to rejoin. We welcome anyone and encourage them to join us. Every member joins our organization because of a veteran they care about. I joined because of my husband, a Vietnam veteran. We have a lot of great benefits to belonging. We have a cancer grant program, and that grant program allows a member to collect $550 twice within a lifetime after being a member for 1 year if they develop any type of cancer. And that could be simply a little skin cancer. They would still receive that $550. That in itself is worth the price of membership. You also are allowed to purchase discounted service like hospital or cancer or accident insurance. And we have a program called Hear America where members of the auxiliary can get discounted hearing aids. And my idea of being a member over the year has changed drastically. I am a 47-year member, and I used to think that you had to be active or we might not want you. But I know now that just belonging and having your name on our roll of members is very, very important. That helps us to protect the entitlements. And I'm not using the word benefits because there is no veteran benefits. There are veteran entitlements. They have served our country and they are entitled to every opportunity to enjoy whatever is out there for them to have. So now, Miss Mary Ann Roth, you were an auxiliary member many years ago.
Yes, ma'am.
And you did that because of your father and your daughter, I believe.
My daughter's a veteran. She's 22 years. She served in the Navy.
And I'm going to ask
Desert
you,
Storm.
how would you like to join us again?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. I'm very proud to belong to a lot of patriotic organizations like the American Legion, the Eagles, the Elks, but my heart belongs to the VFW Auxiliary. Mary Ann, I don't know if you remember, but many years ago, I helped our World War II veterans obtain medals and citations that were offered by the state of Missouri. And I remember you bringing your dad in to see me. Your dad was Harold Thomas. And for those old listeners out there, Mr. Thomas had a radiator repair business. And I believe when he was in the service, that was kind of what he did in the service. And he learned his trade, is that correct?
He worked on airplanes.
And he came and he made a successful life off of the things that he learned in the service. Whenever he came in, he filled out some paperwork, and I found that piece of paper.
Kidding.
No, and it's got his handwritten
gosh.
signature on here. He also gave me his discharge papers that showed that he was in the Army, and he was actually in Normandy.
Yes, he was.
And it tells me about the fact that he received 4 Bronze Service Stars. He was a true American hero. And Mary Ann, you have to be so proud of your daddy.
Oh, I was. I was very proud of him.
It brought tears to my eyes when I looked at this again. And I saw his campaign ribbons and his medals. And this is exactly what we need whenever we have you finish filling out your application to rejoin our auxiliary. So we're going to get you signed up tonight. And I want everybody to know how easy it is to rejoin or to join. And if there's anyone that would like to join our organization, I'm going to put my card over here. It's got my information on it, and hopefully it will pick up. I get so excited and have such a sense of pride when I talk about our auxiliary. And that's why I wrote all my notes down this evening, because I tend to get off track and I tend to talk way too much, but it's because it's in my heart. And I want everyone to feel that patriotism and that pride. So always remember why you belong to the Veterans of Foreign Wars Auxiliary. And I ask each of our listeners to share your time and your talents for our veterans, and please, please consider joining our auxiliary. If there's any questions I can answer, I'm more than willing to do that. And Mary Ann, thank you and welcome to the auxiliary.
Thank you.
Yay, Mary.
It's an honor.
Thank you.
I'm doing it for my father.
I know. And I know you were surprised that I still had this paperwork.
I
The
am.
original there.
I can't believe that. Oh my gosh.
I told you I had a surprise for you this evening.
Isn't that wonderful?
That is awesome. It was the Air Force, Army Air Force.
Mm-hmm.
That's your father's paperwork?
Yes, it is. Normandy. What a tremendous honor.
One of the things that, when I first got in law enforcement, I worked with security in St. Louis. I worked for government
2 of my
security.
uncles were there.
And I worked at Federal
Were they?
Records Administration in South St. Louis and out in Page Avenue.
My brother and
And
my mom's brother. And
The
her
person in
brother.
charge of the military records and person in charge of the federal
They were both
records,
there, yeah.
we became really good friends. And when I went to stations out at Page,
Well, that's something.
I got to see a lot of records that a lot of
He
people
was one of the-
don't see.
He was
And realize that there's a lot of records back, I've
I
seen
don't know if they knew this.
Elvis
or
Presley's
if they
original
knew.
induction papers, I've seen Telly
He
Savalas'
was,
papers, I've seen
These- he
Shirley
was one
Temple
of the
Black's papers,
First ones that
John F.
designed
Kennedy's
where they
papers.
could put the
And-
things underneath the airplanes, the bombs.
It's stuff that's so much history there
He designed the
that
carrier.
Designed the carrier.
nobody ever gets to see.
I
You know,
know.
it's all locked up in a top secret vault, you know? And it just, I wish
Moses.
they could display it. I don't know why they don't, but it just,
Yes. And when I talked about sharing veterans' history, that's part of what we need to learn about. We lost a great veteran just this past weekend, Mr. Joe Hogue.
Oh, my gosh.
He was World War II, and he and Booty Fleeg, and there were 2 other World War II veterans, went on the honor flight. And I was so happy that I was able to assist them in making those plans. But they talked about the honor flight. They were so happy to do that. And that's available to all veterans.
we have something here in town that people probably don't even know Charlie does. Gary Whitener, Wanda's husband. His father was military pilot, and his co-pilot was Jimmy Stewart, the actor Jimmy
Really?
Stewart.
How about that?
And he's got a picture on a big blanket of
Jimmy Stewart was his
his
co-pilot.
dad and Jimmy Stewart was together. I thought that's pretty cool. I thought, you need to take that picture and get it to American Legion or something, put it up on the wall.
Yes.
Because one day this is gonna be lost,
Right.
You bet.
you know?
Mary Ann just has another little story about her dad.
Okay.
They had on the planes.
Louder. Speak up, talk
Speak up.
louder.
Oh, on the airplanes, they wanted to put bombs, and he designed a carrier to put underneath the airplanes for these bombs to be off of
Oh,
those
my.
fighters. He designed that.
Oh, my goodness.
Isn't that something?
Amazing. The stories.
Right.
And we're missing out if we don't ask a veteran
Right.
to share that information. I heard so many good stories when I assisted those veterans with that paperwork. One of our county veterans, he was World War II, and he told me that when he left his home, he knew that he was going to die. And I questioned him a little bit about that, and he said, I wasn't afraid of what might happen, but I had never left the family farm. And when you think back in World War II, those 18-year-old boys had never been anywhere.
Right.
And here he was being sent to Europe, to Normandy.
Right.
And he went on to say, I was so homesick. I missed my mom and my dad. I knew I would never survive. And it was that feeling of homesickness that
Right.
made him so sad. And those World War II veterans, one of my friends, her husband was World War II. And when he left for the service, she was pregnant. When he came home 2 years later, they had a little boy that was 2.5 years old. And that little boy would have nothing to do with daddy because he didn't know dad. At least in today's age, we have the technology where they can FaceTime, they can message each other, and their deployments aren't as long as what they had been before. They're able to come home. Yes, we have more traumatic brain injuries today than we ever had back in those days. But when we say World War II is the greatest generation, oh my goodness, they truly were. Not taking away from any of the other wars. You look at Vietnam, those Vietnam veterans came home to a very ungrateful nation.
Oh, they did.
Shame on us.
Yes.
And
Yes.
finally, we're able to recognize and say thank you to every veteran who wears that uniform.
Now Kathy
Yeah.
served in Desert Storm. She was in Desert Storm.
Mm-hmm.
And she talks about some things, but some things she doesn't talk about too much.
Well, those veterans, every one of them came home and they were changed.
They were.
Oh, gosh, yeah. The child that went over there did not
No,
come back.
you never saw that child come back.
I never saw her again.
When we were at St. John this past Friday for their veterans service, there were 15 graduating seniors for this year that have enlisted in the service. And they're doing it as a choice. It's not a matter of draft anymore. They're making that
Graduate
conscious.
this spring or the one?
They're going to graduate in May, and
Okay.
they have signed up for service. And they've made that conscientious choice. And the service gives them a lot of opportunities that they may not have
Right.
otherwise.
Right, exactly.
They're getting a good education.
In
But-
Mom's family, her brother-in-law and her brother were both in Normandy. One was in the Navy and the other one was in the Army. And I mean, the story, he would not talk about it, but the story of the family, and I have a newspaper clipping. The one in the Army, he's lucky to be alive, actually. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So thank you to all of our
Yes,
veterans.
exactly. Yeah.
I've had quite a few members in the service.
Yeah.
I had an uncle over in Guam and in World War II. And I had a cousin that was captured by the Germans.
And one's in Pearl Harbor,
So,
in the
Wow.
ocean.
I've seen St. John as a military county. There's lots
So
of
many
people that serve.
sad stories.
A lot of family here in St.
Yeah.
John.
Yes, they have.
You know, I've come from a couple counties away, and there was some military there, but most of the people worked in the woods, or, you know, they there took care of their family. They couldn't get away. They had to take care of their family. So in my family, I didn't have a lot of military. Had a few, but that's because they had to stay on the farm and take care of that, you know.
If you go up to the back of the Catholic Church, which is off of 4th Street, and read all the names on the plaque back there, that
Yes.
starts with World War I.
And actually, we had Union and Confederate soldiers back in the Civil,
Right, right.
yes.
And I don't know where those names are, do you, Robbie?
I don't.
You don't?
I bet Bob Miller would know that.
I love
He or Mickey
listening to
Ketty,
stories. I
maybe,
love
Yes.
listening to his
Mickey
stories.
Ketty,
I mean,
yeah.
Yes.
I love listening to him.
Yeah. He's gonna come on the show.
And that's
in
something that I
January.
found too,
Yeah.
is, you know, my age, a few people, you know, younger than me, we take time to listen to these stories, because, you know, I'm getting old too. You know, hard to believe 2 years, I'll be 60 years old. It don't seem like it. But kids don't sit still long enough. They don't want to sit and listen to those stories. They got other things they want to be doing, and they don't realize how much they're missing. Like you said, the older veterans are passing away, and I had a young man, he passed away now, he's 90-something years old. He's a World War II vet, and he told me some stories, but every day he wrote in a journal, and he had a stack of sprawled notebooks that probably go to the ceiling. If I went visiting, he'd put on there, I went visiting, we did this. And he'd tell some of his stories in there, and he left them for his great-grandkids. So that would be
Isn't that
something.
great?
And he's probably did that for 60 or 70 years.
Yeah. Isn't that
Imagine
great?
what kind of things are in there, you know, and
Sure.
that, you know, several generations away. So that was my great-great-grandpa wrote this stuff, and he told me he'd walk 5 miles to dig holes for telephone posts. It's a job to dig a post for a fence post, so that's for telephone posts. And he'd make $2 a week. And he said he didn't have time to walk back home, so they just pull up a hunk of dirt and sleep there, and get up next morning, start digging posts over there, telephone posts again. And
It's
he
amazing.
wouldn't hardly talk about the war. He said that when he was over there, he said most of the time you didn't know any of your buddies by their first names, because you didn't keep them long enough to learn their names. And he was telling me a story, he was sitting right next to a guy, and he was hearing on conversation, and firefight started, and his buddy quit talking. He looked over and he had a bullet hole, and he lost him right sitting there just talking to him. You know.
Most of them wouldn't talk about
Yeah.
what happened there.
No,
My
no.
uncle would not.
The war movies that come on,
When he
Saving
was
Private Ryan and
90,
stuff, he wouldn't
90
watch.
years old, his mom had his Purple Heart, 2 of them, and she said, "You need to take these home." He said, "No. Too many bad memories.
Yes.
No, I'm not taking them." She said, "Okay, do this, take it home and give it to your grandson."
There you go.
So he did.
There you go.
Yeah.
When we worked on those World War II medals especially, one of the gentlemen that came in, his wife was with him and kind of stood in the background, and he started talking about an event that had occurred. He said he pulled out a tobacco can, a Prince Albert red old tobacco can, and he said, "Prince Albert saved my life." And I could tell that his wife was starting to move a little closer because she wanted to hear this story. And he went on to say that he had it in his chest pocket, and a bullet had deflected off of that Prince Albert can, and sure enough, there was an indentation mark in the can that he showed me. And his wife said, "He never told us that." But you have to be ready and willing to listen.
That's right.
And many times the veterans will share information with people that they aren't real close to much quicker than they would someone who they live with on a daily basis.
Right.
But take advantage of asking a veteran, "Tell me your story."
Yeah, I've heard a lot of stories.
Run into a young gentleman up, I was doing a fundraiser for Backstoppers. This gentleman come across the street, and he was pretty elderly and a big guy, and he had one of those hats that said United States Army or something. So I asked him, I said, "You a veteran?" He said, "Yes." So I thanked him for his service. And he looked at my patch. And mind you, I was up in Fenton. He said, St. Genevieve. I said, yep. He said, when I got out of the military, he said, I worked for a funeral home up here named Hoppy's Mortuary. He said, we always prepared bodies for a guy down St. Genevieve. The first thing I thought it was Chipper. I said, Chipper Bosler? He said, yeah, Pumpkin Bosler.
Pumpkin, yeah.
And he said, we always loved, when we had bodies ready, we always loved him to come up. So we called him. He said, there was a little old lady who would always made homemade bread for us. He said, if we knew Pumpkin was come up, we'd call this lady, because when Pumpkin come up, and the first thing people, I get to the store, they say, he brought them wine. I said, nope. Head cheese. He said, he'd bring us up homemade head cheese, and we call get our homemade bread over here, and said, we'd eat like kings. That story came to me on Friday, and we buried Chipper on Saturday. And I told Carolyn on Monday that story, and before I got it through, she said, and he took them head cheese. And I said, yep. She said, Chipper told me that story. I'm sure this was a World War, whatever he was veteran. He was pretty old. I thought he told me World War I. Well, he'd have been super old if he'd have been World War I. So
It had to be too.
I'm guessing it was World War II, but first thing he recognized St. Genevieve. He told me the story about Pumpkin Bosler. So, that's
And
why I
who
don't
did
talk
you
bad
say
about
that was?
anybody.
That was Hoppy?
You what?
Did you say his name was Hoppy?
No, he worked for Hoppy's Funeral Home
Oh, okay.
up in Jefferson County.
Okay.
Well, they were just full of stories. He
Yes.
was always, they always talked about, but Kathy never did. Once or twice she said something, and she said that was, the only thing she said that was the cruelest people she'd ever met in her life. And she said, I don't even talk about them.
We have a flag display at Memorial Day at the VFW Hall, and I encourage everyone to allow us to display the veterans' flags, but also to the community to take the time to look at the names on those flags of our deceased veterans. And we list the name and the rank, the branch of service, and usually what war affiliation that flag represents. But it's just amazing. As you said, we are a very patriotic community. We have a lot of veterans from our community, and we probably had about 130 flags last year flying at Memorial Day. So come and enjoy visiting with your veteran. Every one of us has a veteran we care about.
Oh, yeah. Still haven't gone.
Yes. So thank you for allowing me to join you this
Well,
evening.
wonderful that you
Thank you
came.
for coming.
Thank
Anytime you want to come back.
Thank all of
come
you.
ahead.
Yes, it was a good evening.
Yes, it was a very good evening. Next time, it's probably going to be about the same because we have Jason Scott going to talk about the Backstoppers. And Kathy Kreitler, who's very active in the, I guess, the program for domestic violence. She's going to be talking about the Lunch and Learn. She's always very interesting also. She's just amazing
Yes, she is.
what she does, so. And then if anybody else wants to come on, give us a buzz and we'll
And we'd like to have you back, Jeff.
stick you on the road.
Yeah, I got you back down here.
You gonna come back that day?
If
Okay.
you got room for me, I'll come back.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, that's 20.
And you wanna come in
27th.
December, I mean, well, not in December, it'll have to be January, because December we have music, so.
We don't have any.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So-
11th of
We don't-
So
December.
you know what, we could probably have Quentin and a couple of guests, so if you wanna come December, the
Talk
second,
to Gene about it.
yeah, okay. Okey-doke.
Yep.
So thank you, everybody out there who tuned in tonight, and,
Sure wish somebody'd call and let us know you're out there.
so we'll have another great program coming up at the end of the month, and that will be the day after Easter. Easter, oh my goodness. I wish it
You're
was.
rushing our life.
I know, but it would be warm
It'll be
anyway.
warmer, wouldn't it?
Yes, that's true. I'm
These
sorry,
are
the
dark
day
gold.
after Thanksgiving. Yeah. Or is it the day before Thanksgiving? I'm
It's the
all
day
screwed
before,
up.
yeah.
It's the day
27th.
before Thanksgiving. So that's when we'll be on next, and again, thank you all for coming.
Thank
And
you.
if you want to do real quick, Jeff, your Shop with a Cop, if you want to kind of go over the dates and
The
where the boxes are.
toy drive, we'll be accepting toys and donations up to the 13th of December. We have toy boxes at all $3 Generals, all 3 Bloomsdale Banks, Tractor Supply, the Honey Bar. I think that's it. And if you need to contact me, just call 883-5820, that's the sheriff's office. I have an email, it's my letter J, my first name, last name McCarty, MCCARTY, at the initials for the sheriff's office, St. Genevieve County Sheriff's Office, so that'd be sgcso.com. And I'll get back with you.
And checks can be mailed to the sheriff's
Yeah,
office.
check me sale, just put SWAC, and it goes straight. It won't go in the sheriff's office fund, it goes into we have our own account, everything's accounted for through that.
Okay, thank you. And Robbie, you want to go over yours again?
Yeah, this Saturday, the 16th, from 10 to 5, the Center for French Colonial Life will be open at 2nd and Market Street, and we are conducting free tours for anybody who lives inside the county, starting at 10:15 through 4:15. It's sponsored by B&D Telecom, and we'll have while it lasts, we'll have a free meat and cheese spread.
Okay. And since Darlene's not here anymore, the Alzheimer's benefit, the scooter burgers from 11 to 2 at Barley's Lot. And I can't hardly talk anymore, so. And then they're going to have different shades of blue, and it's going to be at the Oris. And the doors will open there at 5, and the music will start at 7. And it's Les Trotman's band. And, or he plays in the band, is that what she said? And is it Different Shades of Blue is the name of the
Yes.
band?
Yes.
Okay. And there will also be lots of items to bid on, so they can raise
And a
the needed
50/50.
funds, and also 50/50, yeah. So anyway, thanks everyone for listening to us tonight, and we hope you enjoyed the show. And we'll be back again on the 27th.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Good night.
Thank you,
Good night,
Charlie.
everybody, and thanks, everybody. Good night, Charlie.